comment that one of my friends, who's an amazing medical student, he said this. He said, "You know, Esther, food isn't everything," and I'm like, "Food is life." But when he said food isn't everything, I quickly like explicated like the cultural understandings of food, the reasons and rationale behind why we kind of gather together, and what it means, you know, even in a religious context sometimes to families and communities. That answer was one part of it. But then that kind of memory was one thing. And then I remembered my other friend. So today I was thinking, okay, let me incorporate some of the elements that he said into my diet just for today. So today I did keto and I ate like eggs and avocado. I have no idea if that's keto, but I did that today. And then what I did was cut up an onion, because another memory came to my head. And when my friend said, um, Esther, eat vegetables, they will make you faster, fuller. And this is a personal trainer. So far we have a medical student and personal trainer. And then I remember buying this book. I bought this book so many years ago, literally. Um, and I never read it. And I read every single thing that people give me. But in this particular case, it's obviously not that I don't want to read it, because I'm definitely going to read it. But a friend of mine is a physicist, and he said, oh, these type of books, this is junk. And he was kind of saying, which I need to read for myself to make that determination. But he was just saying that, you know, you don't need to read a book about it. But I'm like, I'm starting to look through this book already, and it's kind of seeming like it could be beneficial. However, I got this book, and I thought, okay, so I keep getting these certain types of books, and I'm not reading them immediately. So what is it like for me? What is my relationship with food? And earlier, I was talking about the scarcity mindset or scarcity mentality, which is actually found on like WebMD, and it talks about the way in which people who may not have had access to food will hold on to food. I'm not a dietitian, I'm speaking from experience, but you will hold on to food and fear that you don't know where the next meal may come from. So this is potentially low socioeconomic backgrounds, or you just don't have the funds like at that time, which is understandable. So those kind of thoughts were kind of radiating in my mind. And then I wanted to analyze when he said food isn't everything. I just, I'm not like going to psychoanalyze every element, but there was one element where I was just eating, and I noticed my memory kind of trying to negotiate whether is it possible to remember the taste of food that you eat, which we know it is possible, because if you like pizza, if you like mac and cheese, if you like ice cream, all of my favorites, you're gonna remember how that tastes. However, when I introduced an onion into my particular dinner today, I noticed the onion was so vibrant. It was so good. And it sounds so simple because it's just an onion, but the onion tastes like so good. And I thought, okay, is this like mnemonic memory, or like a mnemonic type of thing where my taste buds would kind of remember or recall how the onion felt or how I experienced the onion in that moment? Or is this something that is temporary and fleeting for me? So at that point, it made me think about the sounds of satisfaction that we make, like, and I always, like when I eat, I'm always like, and I do my head like this. So like the movements and the facial expressions, I thought about that. I also thought about the process of the food kind of moving through my body and like what that actually feels like. I thought about more technical processes like chewing and burping and the digestive processes that kind of take place. And it just makes you think like, do these elements have anything to do with kind of food intake processes as well as desirability to eat certain things or avoid certain things? And I also realized right after I ate dinner, I was like, oh, I want like some tea. For me, tea is like good because it's hot, and I gravitate towards heated foods rather than like cold foods. Except if it's like freezing outside, I will eat ice cream. But if it's cold outside, I will eat ice cream. Whereas some people, they might not. I just like the taste of like ice cream, especially if it's cold outside. Whereas some people think, okay, logically, if it's hot, you want something cold. For me, I think I just like hot food, and I like like lukewarm or like kind of room temperature food. Sorry. So I also think about like my energy levels, and is this in an environment like, am I in the mood to cook a meal? Because I want to kind of emulate the experience that I'm having with food again and again, so that I can kind of evaluate my emotions around that particular food. But also, I feel like I have synesthesia or a synesthetic experience when it comes to eating, because for me, the process is very much, I taste the food, I'll like savor the food and kind of, think about how do I feel like when I'm eating that particular food. Sometimes though, there is like anxiety associated with eating, and I think that's like in this book, which is funny to me. The Fast 800, I haven't read it yet fully, but just kind of scanning it, he has like a chapter. It's really, really beautiful book actually, so I'm probably gonna read it really soon. But he is, I don't know, and I find it better when I don't do counting of, or just any caloric intake. I find that I'm like in maintenance with losing weight, or like I lose more weight when I just eat and regulate my behaviors based on how I'm feeling, and also the goals and needs that I personally set for myself. So for me, I think that also remembering how vegetables actually taste when they are good and cooked is a thing that can help me to extrapolate this knowledge of like taste and memory, and even sound with like growling, or like obviously not growling, but your stomach growling, or like, sounds of joy can be like, emulated or replicated in the future. So I think back to his question or actual statement that he posed, he said, Esther, food isn't everything. And that made me think, is food life? Because to me, food is life, but it's more about how you kind of grapple with food. I don't think that I can do the 5-800 personally, because I want to eat pizza. Oh yeah, here's his chapter on anxiety that I was talking about earlier. Where is he? It's somewhere. Yeah, ways to beat stress and anxiety. So it's on page 177 in this book, specifically Dr. Michael Mosley. But to be honest, I am a type of person. So it's kind of, I'm sorry, I don't want to get lost in the book in the middle of this video. Anyway, I just wanted to know, is food life? To me, food is life, but he said food isn't everything. So it's just such a unique perspective coming from a medical student versus like someone who like adores food. And I love putting different kind of things together. Like, I'm a salty, savory type of girly. Listen, I don't know, but I just want to ask, what y'all thinking? What y'all thinking?